Speaking of AEW, one of the reports that kind of started to circulate um, after or around Full Gear was Adam Cole's injury. Reports have begun to circulate that his injury is more significant than people thought it would be. But the people close to him are saying that he's doing better, he's doing good. So, what are your impressions on this news? Do you think that he will return to AEW or a wrestling ring at all?
No, sit down, brother. I didn't even know you could have a concussion for that long. I'm like, bro, it's been like 4 months. You could have a concussion longer than that. I'm like, nah. Go ahead, sit down, because that everybody be joking about CT. That actually leads to CT.
Yeah.
And all them knocks at the back of your head, you could protect your neck all you want. Shouts out to Wu-Tang. But when you taking them back bumps or you taking certain bumps, you can't protect your neck all the time. So let's say hypothetically he end up getting hit the wrong way. We just saw what happened with Tua a couple months ago. Yeah, go ahead, sit down, brother. It's this another underground legend. You done did it all. You done been on ROH. You was on the E. You feel me? Maybe if he would have stayed in the E, things would have been better, maybe. But at the same
Mhm.
time, things happen. Things happen all the time. You could, do we need to talk about draws
Mm.
and D'Lo Brown?
Yeah.
So I take back what I just said. Like stuff happens. It's a contact sport. So if it's that severe, yeah, go ahead, sit down, big fella.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate because Adam Cole, in my opinion, as far as a talent, is a generational caliber talent. And I look at Adam Cole, and I've been able to watch a lot of his interviews and like kind of get in his mind as far as like what he wants to do and like what he likes. So number one, this injury sucks, right? And then you take into account that Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish were brought to AEW, and they were supposed to have this AEW version of Undisputed Era. Now Bobby Fish is gone; he's no longer in AEW. Um, then so now that kind of takes out the possibility of that faction happening in AEW of the Undisputed Era of the Undisputed Elite. And then on top of that, I think one of the main reasons why he went to AEW because he wanted to work with CM Punk. And rightfully so.
Mhm.
You could tell that he's a very, very big influence on his character. His promos, a lot of his cadences are influenced by him, but we don't know what CM Punk's status in AEW is. So to kind of see all these things kind of unfold simultaneously is just super unfortunate. Obviously, we want to see that man healthy and we want to see that man do well and cook. I think that my um biggest thing is number one, I want to see him get well. So I'm sending him well wishes. Number two, man, if he doesn't come back, the narrative is probably going to be that his time in NXT was probably the peak of Adam Cole's career. When we talk about
Which is
yeah, like when we talk about his most successful time in pro wrestling and probably where if he were to stay, he probably would not have been doing this because I feel like yes, it's a contact sport. You do take a lot of harsh bumps. I feel like AEW um, is a little bit more loose and lenient with their restrictions on moves and sequences and type, yeah, and just the things you can do in the ring, whereas the E is a lot more restricted. But you see a lot, especially this past summer, we talked about on the show before, uh, we saw a lot of injuries that were rooted in those unsafe moves that the E would ban. You know what I mean? And it negatively affected them and when what for Forbidden Door and other events and stuff like that. So the nasty narrative that's probably going to come from this, and I hope that it doesn't, is that Adam Cole in NXT was the prime and the peak of his career. But more importantly, I really want to see him come back. I do think that he's going to come back eventually. It's going to take a lot more time, and he's probably going to be eased back into pro wrestling. Because having a concussion, like you said, for 4 months is no is that's kind of crazy. That's a little bit extreme.
I didn't know you can have a concussion for that long. I
Y-
thought, what I mean, a concussion lasts 2 weeks tops. I didn't know months. Like, nah, bro, that's we ain't gonna mess with the central nervous system like that. Let's go ahead and call it.
Yeah.
And like you said, if he has to call it, and then people think about his NXT career solely, that's fine. Like, yeah, I gotta work outside of that, but you know, you was on the main stage. Obviously, it wasn't on the main card, but it was a main stage because we still talking about it, and that was years ago, you know, when he had all these classic matches. Not that long ago, but still,
Mhm.
it was years ago as we move into a new year. So that's fine. Like, you know, man, play Halo like you doing right now, playing all the video games. I'm gonna tap in. I gotta sign up for Twitch so I can tap in, but man, just yeah, hang it up. It's unfortunate, but
Super unfortunate, but we're wishing him all the best. But moving on from that into our Survivor Series.